Video, I am going to show you how to work with text using Adobe Illustrator. So the first thing you need to do is open up Illustrator and click on Create New. Alright, when the screen comes up, you need to go up to the very top and choose Web and pick one of the website documents. I don't really care what size, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this first one, the most common. And right click on that to create a new document and wait for it to load. Okay, so when you open up Illustrator, you'll notice you have this tab up here that is called Control. So I usually leave that open, so leave Control open. And then my workspace is set to Essentials, and that has everything I need to edit my text over here. Okay, so the main thing we're going to be working with is over here to the right called Character, and that deals with typing. So over here is your text tool. You're going to be using this tool and then probably the top selection tool only in this video. All right, so let's get right to it. If you go on your Illustrator artboard and you just click, you can activate the typing mode. It's going to start off giving you some fake text and you can just type right over that. All right, so I want you to type Kerning is the space between two letters. And we're going to change the size of this here. So what you can do to change the size, if you click right next to where your cursor is blinking and just drag the cursor over that so it's selected, then you can come over here on your properties window and go over here where it says character. You can change the font, you can change the size. So that's what we're going to do here. You can either drag your cursor over it and put a different number. I'll try 50. Or you can just click over here on this arrow and choose one of those sizes. All right, so when I'm done with my text and I have it the size that I want, I'm just going to go up here and click on the selection tool to deactivate that text that I had just edited, and I'm going to go and type my next sentence. So I'm going to go down here and click below that, and notice this time the fake text ends up being the same size as the last size that I used. All right, tracking is the space between a group of letters. And then I'm going to click on the selection tool to get out of that typing mode and then just click anywhere on the artboard. All right, so you can see we have these two sentences. Now I want to show you how to do kerning and how to do tracking. So kerning first, it's the space between two letters. So let's say that I wanted these letters, the N and the I, to be spaced out more. If you just click your cursor in there, now you can see I have a blinking line, so I know it's activated. Then go over here to the character panel, and where this says V/A, that's where you adjust the kerning. That's the space between those two letters. So I can go in here and I can just set a bigger number. You can try something like 20. That didn't really do that much, so I'll pick a bigger number so you can really see how it works. 100. All right, so even though that doesn't look good, I just want you to still do that so that you can show me that you know how to adjust the kerning. If you want two letters to be closer together, like let's say I want this to be tight, I can click my cursor there and I have the blinking line, and I can go over here and I can say -50 or something like that. And now you can see that it got really tight in between those two letters. All right, so do that to this word here so that I can see that you adjusted the kerning. Now let's go over here to tracking. Tracking is the space between a group of letters. So it's just like kerning, but it's the whole entire group of letters instead. So I'm going to go get my text tool and I'm going to click on that line right there so I can select. If you miss that line, you might start a new text box, so you can just undo Control Z and get back onto this sentence. All right, so the tracking is right next to the kerning. It's the VA with the space between both of those letters. So you can go here and put like 100. You can see the letters get really spaced out. If you want them to be tighter, then you just put a negative number. So I'll say like -50. Now you can see that the letters are really tight. Okay, so that's how you do those two. Now I'm going to show you one other thing about adjusting text. So I want you to type leading is the space between lines of text. All right, I want to copy this sentence. So while that cursor is blinking, I'm going to go right to the bottom right of that period, click and drag so that I have that selected. And now I want to copy it. So I'm going to do Control C, or you can go up here and edit and copy, Control C, but I like to use quick keys. So copy it and then go back to that period again at the end of that sentence and make sure you get your blinking cursor. Press return and then paste, Control V. And I want you to do that like 5 times. Let's make 5 lines of text so you can really see how leading works. So now I have this whole paragraph. Let's say that I want to adjust the space between these last 2 sentences. So if I go over here, this is the leading. Usually it needs to be a number that's kind of close to the size of your font, which it is right now, and that looks fine, but I want you to edit that so you can see how it works. So let's say you don't want to put 0 or a really small number, because look what happens if I just say 1, then it puts it on top of the other one, and so you can't even see it. So if I set it to something like 45, that's similar to the size of the text. You can see how it tightened it up. Now let's say I want the space to be bigger. I'll do these, whoops, let me get that L2. I want to do these 2 lines of text here and make it a bigger space. So I'll say like 100 here. All right, so now you can see that the space between those lines of text is a lot more. So I want you to do that to the word, this sentence here, leading is the space between lines of text. Notice how when I click on any of the text boxes, I can move them around. And then the other thing I want you to do is just change the font and color so that you can get practice with that. So let's say I want the word Kerning to be a bolder font and a different color. I can go back over here again and choose another font. I'm going to pick a bold font, and I want to change the color. So I can go up here to Fill and click on that and just pick one of these other colors. And let's do the same thing with tracking. I'm going to go over here and click on tracking. I'm going to make that bold and click on the fill and make it a different color. All right, and then every time I'm done typing something, I'll just go up here to the selection tool and click on that, and then just click on my artboard to get out of that text edit mode. So you don't need to do anything else to leading. I just want to see the kerning and tracking words bolded and change colors. And the last thing you'll need to do is type your name. So you'll see when you go to type, it'll always leave the last font that you used. So I'm going to type my name. Go over here and just put it in the corner. There's one more thing that I did want to show you about changing the size of text that might come in handy when you're working. If you have your selection tool at the top and you click on one of your sentences and you see the box go around it, you can drag the corner of that to change the size. If you hold the Shift key while you do it, it will keep your letters proportional, so you should probably be doing that. But even if you didn't, if you wanted your text to be thinner and taller, you can not hold the Shift key and drag it and make it look like that. You can squish it by doing this. So I wanted you to know there are other ways to edit the text besides using the character panel. It's important to know both ways of doing things. And you can always push Control Z to undo as many times as you need to get back to your original text. All right, so now we're ready to save it. That's all you need to do for this assignment. If you have extra time, just practice more with text so that you can get used to how it works. And we're going to go to Save. And I'm going to name this Assign to dash and then my name. I would like you to save all your assignments this way. And just leave it as an Illustrator file. An Illustrator file is editable, just like when you worked with Photoshop, the PSD was editable. The Illustrator file is editable. So leave yourself a copy in Illustrator in case you want to go back and edit anything. And you can leave all the default settings and just say OK. And then the copy that you need to save for your portfolio, you need to go to Export, because you want to export a Jpeg, and that's not editable. So go Export, Export As, and then go over here. You can either leave it on PNG or JPEG, either one. So I'm going to pick JPEG, and it automatically gave me the extension, and I say export. You can leave all that as default as well. So that's the file that you're going to put into your Google slide presentation to turn it in. So save both of these files to your Google Drive in a folder called Assignment 2, and then make a new page in your Google slide and put Assignment 2 and the JPEG on that for a grade.